Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Dynamic Change Management Podcast. We're just getting started here. We'd like to thank everybody for joining us. We're streaming live to YouTube. I'm your host, Dylan Matt. We're just waiting on our guest host to pop in here. Thanks for visiting us. You can see lovely space in the background. Here's Timothy. Let's just welcome him on. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Here's Mr. Berquist now. Timothy, welcome. We had a quick reset there just before we kicked off, so we're a minute or so past the time, but we made it. Can you hear me all right? I'm not sure I can hear you, though.
I can hear you just fine. I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah, you can hear me as well. Absolutely, 100%.
Awesome. So we're trying this out to be a little bit more scripted and a little bit more structured here. I know we've been kind of flying by the seat of our pants a little bit with some of this stuff, as organized as we know how to be, but we're getting there. So welcome, everybody. How's the vibe, basically, is what I'm wondering. How's everybody's vibe tonight? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. I had a little ups and downs, I've been a little bit off because of sickness, but other than that, everything's been going good. We were just talking about the energies have been gone up, two down, to up, two down. You're running the waves of what is life, so it happens. But yeah, no, I'm feeling good, and I'm trying to keep connected in the most beautiful way that I can. So yeah, 100%.
Good for you. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate that. I just want to let you know we have Kathleen Murphy in the lobby, as well as Bruce is with us. So we just want to welcome you guys. So thank you very much. We want to encourage you to put any comments, concerns, questions, whatever you guys have in the comments here. We're here for you. Just so you know, Kat is here. Welcome, Kat. Thank you so much. I'm going to do my best to stay on top of the comments because it's just me here on this end. So you talked about up and down energies. Maybe you want to dive into that a little bit. Is there any particular energies you're tuning into these days? What in the collective, what are people going through, and why are we having these cycles, and what's the up and down?
Well, if you're going to ask me, I'm going to say it's going to go with, let me pull this down a little bit so I don't.
Sure.
Yeah. I'm going to say it has to do with emotional energy that you were connecting to, which is what we're going to be talking about anyways today, right?
Right.
Because, you're diving into, when you're indulging, if you will, to the energies of what is, it's a very important place to realize emotion. So
Yeah.
we go through these different times. I wish I knew a lot more, once again, about all things around. I try to connect with them the best I can. But, you get through a certain path of energy in a certain moment, and you almost can lose yourself. You can almost feel as if you were not you. And I think that's very important for people to realize, because when you step into it, it really affects the way that you are using your emotions to push out. And because we're talking about intuition today, is why I'm talking about that. Yeah. So I want you to make sure that when you're feeling that way, you understand that sometimes it's not how you were trying to push out the energy. It's what energy you were feeling. And that really makes a difference in that intuitive state.
For sure. Yeah, I'm with you. You hit the nail on the head there. For me, I haven't really told everybody yet. So yes, we are talking about intuition. Yes, we are talking about tarot. Ty is or Timothy, depending on how you want to refer to him. He's our resident expert in the department. And we just wanted to touch on this topic a little bit because there's lots of different, I guess, divination techniques. Intuition, if you ask myself and maybe someone like Timothy, we will tell you that intuition is underneath all of that stuff. So all of those mechanisms work by, and intuition just really, all that means is, to break that word down, it's the teacher within, to an inner knowing or intuition. Tuition is the word to be schooled or to educated or domesticate oneself into a topic. And obviously the in is the internal. So we're being taught by, say, the spirit man or the higher self or our guides or source, or however, typically a simple way to say that is energy. we tap into energy. So the qualities of vibrational energy, that's what intuition is. And tarot, the 77 cards of the tarot deck, are a really beautiful tool to sort of like tap into frequencies, I guess, or archetypes even of that energy. So from what I'm hearing from you, Timothy, it sounds like we all have those moments. That's one of the things that came to mind when you were talking, is like, for you said for you. So for everybody, do we all have moments where we feel like we're going through the desert and we're like disconnected from ourselves? And even though we're feeling energies, it's like, oh my God, I don't feel like myself. Or, maybe not like feeling like myself, maybe not necessarily feeling like somebody else, but it just feels off sometimes, doesn't it?
Absolutely, 100%. I don't think anybody is like 100%. There's, I mean, you know how hard it would be to be that person, even if you were. I mean, you would think about it. If you're just constant, it would be very difficult. I feel like that we all move through different processes at different times for the different energies. And that's what you're talking about movements astrologically. You're talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
movements of process. That I just did the video about the trees the other day. I mean, your things are connecting differently around you, as well as you were connecting differently in that time. So that's a big deal. You're moving through energies. You're not the only energy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to get at here? There's energies all around you. You're worried about other people's energies, but also you have to open up to what the energies are around you. And that's very important to remember, because those energies connect with you in different ways, and that make you feel a certain type of way as well. And it's your emotional energy that allows you then to connect, or you want to control your emotional energy, I should say, to feel confident in what you were pushing out. So absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
It sounds like you're saying like there's a inward and an outward flux, and it's almost like, if I were to lay that flat or whatever, that visual, it's almost kind of like, the reminds me in my mind anyway of the lapping of the waves coming of shore. And maybe the people who are venturing into the ocean or whatever, they're kind of meeting, and then coming apart, and they're kind of meeting and they're coming apart. What we call these different energies. So like, if we were to say the ocean is maybe the collective body of energy, and so say like maybe the different people on the beach are the different specific iterations of energy. You and I maybe are little droplets of that energy, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could think about it. If you really think about it, I mean, you turn your back to a wave. I mean, you know what I mean? You're not paying attention because you've lost that energy of that field. I used to go into the ocean, and my sister would be like, she would be smiling. She'd be looking at me and she'd be smiling because she thought I was going to get knocked over by a wave. But I could feel it, so I would jump.
Yeah.
She would like, she just wanted me to get hit by the wave. She wanted to laugh at me. But it's the same thing. It's literally that. Like, but that wave, it can, if you're not feeling, if you're not connected, it can hurt you. The same thing with energy.
Mm.
It can hit you. It's
That's a
definitely.
really good. I feel like that's a really good way to look at it. Like, if we think about our lives as the continual rolling of the waves, or the continual unfolding of the ocean's destiny, or whatever, the droplets of the ocean on the earth, it's kind of neat to think about that. You can get knocked over by that. You can get connected to a different kind of energy. The one that you ever. Let me ask you this one: have you ever had where, like, you or anybody else here, have you ever felt like your energy was like hijacked? Are you like, you like walk by something sticky, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, wait a minute, and all of a sudden you're
That's
behaving differently?
Yeah, and I apologize about interrupting you, but that's, I mean, I had to laugh at it because yes, I mean, come on, I mean, it happens all the time.
Mm.
So let's go back to the Walmart thing. You want to talk about Walmart again?
Don't we? Isn't it our signature? We're gonna visit Walmart. This will be the whole thing.
Yeah, no,
That's
seriously,
how we
yeah,
might get done.
absolutely, it happens. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a thing. Absolutely. Um, and even sometimes, you could do it, like if you, me, we could do it on accident, if
Right.
we're not in that focus. You know, like, yeah, it's like a whole thing. So yeah, absolutely 100%. You know, it definitely
So let me
happens.
ask if there's anybody here in the comments. It looks like there's a couple of you, Kathleen or Bruce or Kat. Do any of you notice? You ever had your energy get hijacked, or notice that, like, even these swells or whatever, these connections, maybe they're wanted, maybe they're unwanted, but you ever notice that you're experiencing something that maybe doesn't feel totally like you? It might be something that you've picked up. You can throw your answers in the comments here, guys, and we'd love to hear from you. I'll just
Absolutely.
keep playing with my hat while we're messing around.
Well, I keep moving around. It's the whole thing.
Listen, I want to say you have like a really beautiful way of like connecting and guiding. So I want to thank you for that and participating with us. I
Oh,
don't know if
absolutely. I appreciate you. Yeah, thank you.
I don't know if we say that enough. We come on here and we ask you lots and lots of questions for an hour, and then we go away for a week, and then we connect again.
Yeah, absolutely. You're fine.
So for our new listeners, I want to, I don't know, sort of like, what captivates you the most about exploring intuition, tarot? Like, what's the real draw? Obviously, energy. We're talking about magnetism and all kinds of stuff, but like, for you personally, and maybe zoom out a little bit more for other people that or the uses in general in society. What's the big draw? Why is it so popular, tarot, out of so many different modalities? Why are people not running around getting tea leaf readings or holding their dowsing sticks or whatever? Why is it tarot?
It's not only tarot. So, like for me, I've connected with people for a long time. So since I was a kid, and then I ran away from it. I didn't even know what tarot was when I was a kid.
Okay.
Um, with me, the tarot is just an easy way, a tool, if you will, to step into a reading for someone to understand easily. So it's more for me about how I connect with the energy of someone or what I'm seeing in that person or what I am talking to them about. But I love tarot mainly because it gives me the tool to push out. Um, there's more there than just tarot,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more there, but it's just a tool there that allows me to step into it. My big thing is I've always been able to connect with energy and people, and I've been doing that since I was a kid. And that's why, I went through all the things that we talked about in the last episode. There's so many things that have happened, but it's not so much about connecting with the cards themselves, although I do very, very much so. I used to not go anywhere without the cards, but I mean, these right here aren't tarot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
So
I've got
why don't you,
more. Yeah,
can you show us some of your toys, not toys, but your tools, right? Some of your toys. I call them toys myself, because I get a lot of joy out of my own stuff too. And
yeah, yeah,
I like
absolutely.
to I like to call my business stuff in terms of endearment. So,
I
do
get you.
you want to
Yeah,
show us some of that?
it
And
makes it fun, right? It makes it fun.
what's the difference between tarot and these different cards that you were showing us? Is what
So
I'm
this is
kind of wondering.
Oracle here, which is a little bit different. It's more of how you're feeling in the moment at the second of one word.
Mm, mm, mm.
The tarot normally runs on what most people run them through the actual books of what they say. I don't do that. So I kind of run my tarot like an oracle deck. I don't read. I mean, I've read through the books, but I don't use the books as an actual guide. What I
Why not?
do, I
Why
run
not?
with yeah, exactly. I run with the cards
Mhm.
that I pull that I feel for that person with their energy and what they're going through. Yeah. So that's how and there's other things that go on, but yeah, that's how I read. I don't actually use the books. I use
You're
the
hinting at
actual
a few
energy
things,
around me.
and I feel like I won't do this interview justice or this episode justice if I don't ask two things. Like,
Go
number
ahead.
one, what are the other things? You said, and there's other things. And number two is like, why don't you use the book?
Okay, so the book to me makes it a game.
Okay.
So to me, the book makes it. If you're gonna only say the same thing about one card, if every time,
Okay.
because to me, if I pull this card right here for two different people, it's gonna mean two different things. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the six spheres. I can tell you something about that right now. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to run that card for two different people and you're telling them the same thing, then it's not true. You're just telling them what came out of a book.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. Books are strong. Okay. I know there's a lot of knowledge that come out of books. But when it comes to reading or connection, that's not connecting or reading. That's not channeling. What you're doing is just saying, hey, look, you know what I read today? That's funny because look, I just literally shuffled and pulled the same card.
Yeah. So you might as well tell us.
Yeah. So it's literally not about that. Yeah. It's really about like learning how to grow with the energy and the actual reception of what you were connecting to. And so that's why it's a big deal. It's not about reading out of a book. It's about connecting and understanding energy and truth and feeling that connection. And this is why, even though I might not have tons of people that are around, when they get the reading that they need, which I always say, you get what you need, not what you want. They understand and they are grateful for it. There's a difference. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, that one led me into another sort of rabbit hole question. What's the difference between people getting what they need and what they want?
Well,
I'm going to ask you more questions around this, but
yeah, you're fine. Yeah, some people want to hear what they want to hear. So some people come in and they're like, "Hey, that's why I don't do a lot of love questions and things like that." They want to come in and be like, "Hey, am I going to be with this man?" And then I have to tell them, "I don't know, because does he want to be with you and he's not next to you right now? I'm not going to read him. I can read you, but I can't give you his free will." Okay, it's very important, and they don't like that sometimes. People don't like that. They don't want to hear the truth. Because that's not. I can't tell you what he's going to do. It's like it's free will. But you have to be truthful to people. You have to be honest with what's going on with them in the moment. And it's much more. It gives much more freedom to that person, though, when they hear those things. If they want to hear it, because that's the whole thing. I could be like, "Oh yeah, sure." You know what I mean? I could do that all day long, but that's not the truth. That's not the truth. You feel me? Like, it's not the truth. The truth is what you need to hear. What's going on with you, your life, your energy, your focus, where you're at, your growth, and your truth. Otherwise, I'm just gonna lie to you and just, "Oh, here, yeah, give me money." Yeah, that's that's not how that works for me. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy.
You wouldn't be on this podcast if you were that dude. Neither of us would be having this conversation. Thank you for answering that. I know I poked you a little bit in that area, and that's.
Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good. Yeah.
I'm curious about other people. So, like, what kinds of questions then? You said you're not a big fan of the loved ones. So what kinds of questions do come up? Why do people come to tarot? Why do people want intuitive answers why do people want sort of like intuition through somebody else, through tarot, a third party? What's blocking them, or what's, sort of like, what's their motivation between just going to and doing it themselves and coming to a reading? What's going on there?
Focus of self and wise of growth is a big thing. Okay. So what happens is people don't feel as if they even know who they are. Okay. Now, I would say, in my eyes, a lot of people come with questions, and they come with love because they're searching, because they haven't found it for themselves, or they're trying to change the love that's already happening in their lives. People don't understand how to relate to what is connection, or people are also running from something they are afraid of. Those are the three main ones. But the questions that I get asked that I always tell people I don't do questions on here, and that, whenever I do, if I'm going to do a bigger reading, it's going to be on Instagram. But the main thing is you have to understand that when you're getting a general reading, you have to take in what is being given to you, if it's a true reading, from the energy that you are putting out. But people are always searching for something, always searching, right? The main one is always love. It's always love. And if you're searching for love, that's because you don't love yourself.
Mm-hmm. That's
I
good.
mean, it's the truth. I mean, it's how it works. You got to get into who you are. You got to get through the growth. You have to realize, listen, I'm not perfect. I don't love myself perfectly. I'm insecure. You know, I got some insecurities. Listen, there's a lot of things that I got to get through. But the truth is, I've found the love for myself to be able to push into something that allowed me to see the love around me. And that's very important.
So can I ask you that personal question? How closely tied to that self-love is your gifts, or say the tarot and intuition?
Oh, it's everything. That's the reason I do it. That's the reason I'm able. That's literally the only reason that I'm able to step into it. You start. Look, I will literally have days where I mean, you've seen me when I did the video about the I'm not here today. Like I can't do it. Like that's one of those insecure days where I'm like, I'm off. I can't do it. Because if I try to do it today, I'm not going to do it right. And that's how that works. But I also understand myself enough, love myself enough to understand that I'm in a bad spot. And it happens. I guess sometimes I got people that have to tell me, you are not right now. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go lay down. Things like that. Like it happens. Like it's a thing. Nobody's perfect all the time. It just doesn't work that way. We're all growing. We're all moving. We're all trying to get through this.
100%. So is it okay if I switch gears a little bit on you?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
So we've been asking about, like, I think we talked about relationships and love a little bit. We started our whole podcast on love. Now we're kind of like dipping into what that means with our intuition and stuff. So, often we seek direction with our careers and, next step and stuff. How does tarot, how does intuition, how does a tool like this or service like this help us to align ourselves on that path? If we're seeking tarot, does that mean we're off path? If we go to the tarot, can it help us get back on our path? These kinds of questions. The reasons that people come is around their work, around their careers, not just relationships, right?
Are you talking about the ones who do tarot or the ones who are
people who come? So you, as I would just say you're the normal person they would come to. I'm talking more about people who would come for a tarot reading. Why would they bring their career stuff or their work stuff or whatever? Why do people seek intuitive guidance in that area?
Yeah, so absolutely 100%. It's going to be because they feel their emotional feeling is that they are off path. But what people do not understand is you're right where you're supposed to be. We're all here. Okay. We're all here. We're doing what we are supposed to be doing. The truth comes to the understanding of why we're doing it. So if someone is coming to me for an answer about something or somewhere that they're at, I give them the best answer that I can from what is their energy and the cards. The truth comes down to how they take it, how they feel about it, and what is happening, because they are actually right where they're supposed to be, like I said. And that's a big part of what people don't see. It's difficult to understand that someone could be in such a negative place in a certain moment. Like, listen, it is, you could, I don't even want to talk about it. Okay.
I don't either.
There's so many, and you think about us, we're in a good place compared to so many other people, it comes down to understanding this is what's happening and you can change it. It's your choice. I had to change mine, I still haven't changed it all the way, but I'm still working on it.
So let me ask you, can I ask this trippy, this is sort of like I don't know, whatever you want to call this. It's probably the dreaded question for every intuitive reader or whatever.
Go ahead.
This one. It's like, then if they're always in the right place at the right time, then what sort of like to pick on us for readers, what business do we have entering into their flow or in their stream? What business do we have providing a service where It's intuition based. It's inside of me based. This whole thing is about inside. What business do we have? What audacity do we have to come forward as readers and reflect back to someone else? How could that even be possible without our fingerprints, our money grubbing, blah, 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 all this, all this shit that the lots of the people want to say about metaphysical practitioners. It's been a long-standing whatever. Why would anybody come to us if it's about intuition?
Okay, so this is actually a very simple question. I'm not gonna lie to you. So it's very simple. They are not there. They're searching for that message. Plus, normally the people that they're coming to are going to be people who have the same type of energy as them. So they are searching for the answer that they have not received yet for themselves. So it's pretty much that easy. Like they literally are feeling a connection with someone. That's why if you've ever been somewhere and somebody just wants to talk to you, I'm sure that's happened, right, to you? Yeah, but you're just sitting there and somebody's like, "Listen, I just want to talk to you. I need," and you're just sitting there and they're talking to you, and you're like, you're giving me your whole life story, like. That's because there's a connection of energy. Some of us are people that people want to talk to. It's because they feel the energy. And so that's why that energy is so important and it's so connective. And so it's a very important way to be intuitive and stepping into a mindset of what they can understand.
I have another question around that, but I want to jump on what Kat had said here. I just
Okay.
posted the comment, and she'd said people look for confirmation that they're on the right path and what the next step is, or what step they're supposed to take next.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's that confirmation.
So let me poke that just a little bit more again from the sort of like skeptic or the like whatever you want to call it, the onlooker's perspective, maybe a little bit. If intuition, my intuition's inside of me, and your intuition's inside of you, how can I, as a reader, reflect back your intuition? So if you're if someone's coming to me who's disconnected, who's coming about career advice or relationship advice or something to do with a direction in their life or purpose, and they don't know themselves, what, from their perspective, we understand why they would come. I get it. They're looking for something. For us, what makes us qualified to reflect back sort of like energy or answers or solutions, or what makes us qualified? How are we not hindering them, I guess, is another way of saying it. So first I will ask, do we give them answers? Do we give them direct answers to the questions? And if we do give them direct answers, doesn't that do their work for them? I know there's a few things going on in what I'm asking, so if you need me to re-ask it, just let me know.
Okay, so if me personally, we're not giving them direct answers for themselves. Good. We're giving them information that they need to conduct how they feel or what they are seeing. You change your life, right? I can't change your life.
Yeah.
I can't come change your life. Well, I mean, I guess it's a crazy way, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I cannot change who you are and what you were creating.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You are the one creating what is happening around you. What I do, or what you try to do, what we're doing is giving answers from what we've been through. Yeah. Our trust and our intuition comes from what we've been through to push out an energy towards others that creates an energetic field that allows others to feel it. And so they either take the information or they don't. We can't force them. I can't go down the road and tell somebody, hey, you have to do this. I mean, that's how the world kind of works right now, but I can't go down the road and tell the guy down the road to do it this way and expect him to actually do it that way. It's the information that he takes. The energy that we produce, though, is what really allows us to connect with the ones who need it, and that's going to be the most important thing. It's very much about who's ready to take in the information and who's not. Not that we're any better than anybody out there. We are not. We are not better than anyone. We are just the normal type of people We have just selected to take in the information to create a better place. And then when I say that, I mean create a better world and a better connection and a better informative view of what's happening around us. So
Sounds like you're describing. Sometimes I talk about the term metaphysician or metaphysical practitioner. I consider tarot readers, intuitive readers, psychics, mediums, all of these people to be in metaphysical practitioners, even psychologists, messing with the psyche, messing with energy and stuff, when the focus is on energy. It sounds like you're describing that sort of like metaphysical aspect. And what I was getting while you were talking is, maybe I think, isn't it true that lots of people maybe think of like energy work as like this woo-woo way out there kind of a profession, way different than say like a doctor or like a scientist or like a teacher or something? But the way I heard you just talk about it, it sounds like, you and people like yourself have just chosen to specialize, like a doctor would specialize, an eye doctor would specialize in all the knowledge about the eyes. You're specializing, choosing to specialize in all the knowledge about energy and emotion, let's say. So in many ways, kind of like a spiritual doctor. Is that?
yeah, I mean, I could say that. Yeah, I'm not a huge. I'm not right because I'm not huge on. I've got an uncle who's a doctor who I've actually just called the other day because of some stuff I was going through. So, I don't. It's different on how you look at it because our physical bodies are different than how we connect with the energy.
Yep.
So it is different. And it's also how our mind and body works compared to how we are connected with the ethereal realm. So there's a lot of different things that go into that. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not even that like I said, I'm not special. Like I'm just here, man.
Yeah.
And I'm just living. And what I do is I'm able to connect, and so that makes it a great way of being able to energetically, like we were just talking about, produce something better for people. You were talking about the energy healing thing. Big deal, because I've actually seen that firsthand work. So it's a big deal,
Yeah.
but you got to go through every step of what is healing and how you were healing and what you were healing from and what you're going into. We also have to remember that we were put into a process of nastiness, and I'm not trying to be gross or anything, but I mean it's what we live in, and so what we're trying to do now is create a better place, better energy, and get back into being a healthier society. So
Gotcha. I didn't mean to put you on the spot or trying to set you
no,
on a
you're yeah,
pedestal in terms of doctor or anything. It just sounded like you're one of the first people I've heard say it in such a way that doesn't really set themselves on a pedestal, that really talks about themselves being, like you said, a regular dude. This just happens to be what I chose to do. This just happens to be, it's like apples and oranges. It's not that special and blah, blah. Even though the impact is a special thing, even though the interaction and the connection and what happens with the people and the client, it's a very special, sacred thing. But it is also when you buy your groceries, right? Or when you get fuel. We just seem to be, for whatever reason, not as reverential or aware of sacredness or the specialness that we could get water from the tap or hot water or electricity or whatever. We just seem to be really familiar with a lot of things, whereas ourselves or our spirit or our soul or whatever we call this internal world doesn't seem to be. It seems to very much woo-woo still. Seems to be this far out there frontier, like the bottom of the ocean or far up in space or something still.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that 100%. Yeah, absolutely. There's still a lot of people who are just whatever, just this is not the way of life. But yeah. So you're saying the woo-woo hippie thing, whatever. Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely.
that's how I thought.
Yeah. I get that 100%. Yeah, it's coming around though, right? Like people are starting
Yes.
to really feel
Yeah.
it differently, starting to see it, and it's going to be a good thing especially when we get down to the youngers who are really stepping into,
Right.
when they start stepping into it and the growth of what they're doing. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so we went super like etheric there, and we went super expansive. We talked about relationships. I want to talk a little bit more about dynamics. I think in one of our other podcasts we talked about energy dynamics. You know, what are the cards actually doing? Are they picking up, like when they come out of the deck? Like, you know, we're going to be woo woo again here for a second.
Yeah,
When they
you're
come
good.
out of the, they're coming out of the deck. Those cards are actually energy, fashioned in a form of a paper, something with some paint on it and some decorations and stuff. But they're energy, really, at the most rudimentally, just like your energy, just like my desk or the computer's energy, and all runs on energy. So, you know, how friggin' accurate or inaccurate will it be when you pull a card? Let's say I pulled one for myself. Is it going to be really accurate? If I get you to pull one for me, how accurate is it going to be? And then I guess sort of like, you know, we talked about the reasons why people pull cards. What are they going to find out? What are you going to know when you pull a card?
All right. So with me, I use energy to pull a card. So I pull weird. Okay. I pull different than most dealers. Like I literally do this until I feel the card that I want to pull. Okay. So the accuracy of the card comes down to how I'm connected to the person. All right. So let's just say that card was for you right there.
Okay.
Okay. This is a justice card. A lot of this is about balance and understanding and how much you judge yourself. It affects you in a way of mind and body. You're still trying to connect better with your spirit. The big thing with this, though, is all about balance because it really is going to step into how you're judging yourself on a daily basis and how you're moving forward in your protection of self. How accurate was that? You tell me.
For someone like myself, I might be one of your pain in the butt customers or clients. I would say, what does balance? What does balance mean? I guess would be what I would
How
respond
much
with.
you dislike and like yourself in that situation. That's what it's
Oh,
about. Your
that's very
balance, how much you're going to be in a place of understanding what you've been through and who you are.
yeah.
So, yeah.
So I'll be super honest with myself. There's like 99% of myself I'm in love with, but there's a 1% that seems like, I don't know what else to call it, but like an Achilles heel or the thorn in the paw or the like angelic kick to the hip or whatever that is like, you know, it's almost like my head would or my ego would swell beyond life if I didn't have whatever that is. And it's so if I were to simplify in terms of like how much I love myself, like it's off the charts how much I love myself. But the interpretation of how that plays out in my life is like, it seems like all of the rest of that is filtered through that one tiny little effing percent or point of a percent. And so, like you, I think, or like any of us, I think it's going to depend on the time. If you ask me at a specific moment, my answer could be like a fucking, you know, I'm glad that I have a light, but that's about it. Whatever. It's like, I don't
You
want
know,
to talk.
I get you 100%, but that's the whole point about that reading that I just gave you. It's about being more balanced.
Yes.
It's about understanding why you have that negativity and how you come together with it and be more balanced and understanding why you have to grow through it. That's the whole point of the reading. So for you to be saying, oh no, I love myself 100% of the time or 99% of the time, it's actually the whole point of that reading. See,
Yeah.
boom. We got to understand why we have to grow through certain situations. We have to understand what that point is. And that's why I tell you when I do my readings, I tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. Okay. And that's the whole point. So there's obviously something you're still trying to grow through. Let's get to that balance. Let's understand it, because that's going to be a great place for you to be. You're going to be in a better place if you're not always like, oh, no, 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 I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm awesome. I'm the best all the time. Nobody's perfect, right? You have to understand what balance is to allow yourself to grow through the processes that have hurt you, even if it's that 1% that you're talking about. It's obviously a 1% that's a lot stronger than you think because you just said it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not 1%, it's more than that. Because like you said, timing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some days, oh God, why are we growing? That's the process, right? That's the importance of what is balance. That is why we're not seeking judgment on ourselves. We understand why we are being judged by others. We're focusing on the process of moving through a new position. So keep that in mind, man. Because I mean, I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure that ran pretty good there for you. I'm just saying.
100%. And at the same time, I will say, like, this is fun for me. I appreciate this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, absolutely.
Just to speak up for myself, I tend to be a person who, let's just say, like, in terms of like the vernacular you were using about perfection, about a person or whatever, we're all not perfect. I actually don't see life that way. So maybe there might be another kind of language that I would use to acknowledge that there's flux and there's variance and stuff. But I tend to think like you, Timothy, or Ty, are absolutely perfect. 100% contained perfect unit, like regardless of what you internally think about yourself. So in terms of, so when I talk about you saying that you're accurate in your reading, I would say you're accurate because sort of like I'm the awareness that I have about that part of me that doubts that I'm perfect, if let's just say. So there is, as much as I, speak that with my mouth or whatever, the way that it plays out in my life obviously is going to be that, whether it's balanced or not. But I tend to set, and just to like qualify that, with every type of thing that I've overcome in my life, the only answer that has been that then has been a solution has been to choose, some people might say like grace or something, or to choose like a perfect image of myself, and to acknowledge sort of like that there's like a version of me that's the very first time I'm iterating as a human in this 3D this time around. And so there's like this level of incredible grace that I'm attempting to give myself that is off the charts imbalanced, say, for how most people might go, he's fucking narcissistic, or he's really on about himself or whatever. But the truth is I'm aware that I'm on about myself, and it's actually a mission I'm on to sort of like completely embody all of that, what I believe to be true, the perfection that is me. Like, I don't think source makes junk. I don't think source makes mistakes. I don't think so. What I feel is like, not to criticize you or anybody else or whatever, and or to negate the reading, but what I feel like is we tend to have like a limit in our capacity to articulate and sort of like describe what it is that how we want to live and stuff. And language is, it feels like such a like a muddled, limiting way to do it, whereas energy is totally different, let's say. So your reading being accurate, I would say, is accurate for me because it's like it puts a finger on, that, like I said, that 1% is like that little glimmering doubt that goes on the days where it's like, you're not perfect, look at your stuff, da da da, whatever. But the true voice of me, the one that loves me, my internal like child, that is like, this is your first time doing this. Why would you judge yourself? Like, why not just love your perfection? That mindset and that kind of choice of like, there's only one power, there's only God, there's only one power. Every other label that is lesser quality, especially when I get towards something that's a real challenge in my life, it's like, that is the challenge in life, is to let go the imperfection. It's not true. That's bloody not true. I am a beautiful, perfect being of light, resonant, blah, blah. And underneath, or say all the distraction, and I think, and again, just for me, and I'm not sure this anybody else, it might not be what anybody else is. I'm sure everybody's like this, but it's like all of this external world is a projection of sort of like me attempting to live that perfect way. But there's 8 billion other souls out there that are doing that same thing. And lots of people still seem to think that there's an idea of imperfection, or there's lack, or there's victim, or there's something. And so it's like there's a competitiveness. And so there's like this extra turbulence in the spiritual pool. Now, us as a soul's journey going through this process, I know you opened up a whole can of worms, us going through this, soul's journey or whatever, the lie is our imperfection. That's the reiterated lie continually. So again, sort of like one of the reasons I don't do a lot of other people reading me is because that type of language will show up or whatever. And it's like, and not to say I don't have anybody reading me or whatever, I do my own stuff, but it's like a lot of times in the language of the reading that I'm being offered, it's like it's a lesser truth than what I already hold for myself. So I am not typically one person that goes to a lot of different people's getting readings. It's not because I don't believe in readers or don't trust the process. It's just, it seems like I'm doing a work inside that's aware of what you were just saying, that 1% or that one filter or that one goggle I put on Tuesday on 9 o'clock or whatever it is, and everything all of a sudden is shit. But like, I don't know what else to say. You are, this reading is part of the balancing process. Everything that we're doing is part of the like perfect process, which is already balanced, and we're just kind of yielding to it. I guess I see it sort of different than that. So
Yeah, I mean, dude, I mean, we're imperfectly perfect. That's what I always say, you know. Yeah, imperfectly perfect. It's the whole point of understanding the imperfections of what you feel about yourself to make sure that you are loving of who you perfectly are.
yeah,
So, I mean, I can just literally just say that to everything you just said. I mean, that's it.
that works.
It doesn't matter. Like it's you're we're all perfect people. It's just the understanding of why we feel imperfect. So
Yes.
we're growing, we're moving, we're flowing through this time. Everything around us, well, there are, I still worry about some, but there's beautiful things happening around us at all times that are imperfectly perfect, just like we are. So I get what you're saying, 100%. But yeah, that's my saying. I love, a lot of people say it, imperfectly perfect, and
Yeah.
it's a great way to step into the realization of what you're trying to grow through. Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate that. And like I said,
Yeah,
again, I'm not here to negate it. I just found it was a really awesome opportunity. So I thought, hey, what the hell? Um,
absolutely.
if I'm okay to be the guy as well to like send us back in time, we're sitting at about 13 minutes left on the podcast. We got a few comments here,
Sounds
and I
good.
did it, and I just did a monologue. So please allow me to visit the comments. Carrot was saying, truly about free will. They ask you both for help, and what they do with your guidance is up to them. So, in many ways, it's no different. So let me put it this way, or ask this way. In many ways, is tarot and intuition, or asking someone else to tap their intuition with their tools and their way. It's not that much different than going, hey, I need a hand up this hill, or I need a hand to the next step, or I'm not really good at spelling. Could you help me spell this thing or whatever? It's, in a lot of ways, it is really just, just a friendly support, is it not?
Yeah, no, I'm more of a yes, absolutely. It's just a help. It's a step. It's a connection. I very much try to connect. And you were talking earlier about the extra things that I was talking about. I'm lucky to have connections on the outside of me that I feel confident in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's very much just a connection to the person to allow to give small a bit advice unless they want a lot. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it's very much about just really connecting and letting them hear what they need to hear to make the next step. Like you said, yeah, absolutely, 100%. I know a lot of people will, a lot of readers will, um, I don't know. I don't want to talk bad on anybody.
Yeah.
So
Good for you.
not
Good for
that
you.
person. Yeah. So
Good for
a
you.
lot of readers will do it differently. I'm definitely about connecting and pushing out good things for someone in the moment of what they need to hear. Yeah,
Good.
100%.
Let me just step in and say, and I know this is a positive judgment, so I don't mean to be putting myself above you. That's not what I'm saying right now. But good on you for right now catching yourself, what you were just going to do, and dip into that other. I think that was fabulous. Great job. Great
Thank you.
example.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
example of who you are and why you're here on this podcast. Karen also said, I'm at 70-30. If you guys can hear in the background, I have a kitty that I probably, next time Timothy starts talking, I'm going to open the door and let Maisie in, because I don't like to let him worry about, his mom's not here. So I'm in the middle of this podcast live. He's super important to me. And I know all you cat people out there will totally understand me. So Carrot again was saying, I'm at 70-30, especially when I'm frustrated at the grocery store and people who cut me off in traffic. So I really love how she's it's not she, it's he, I think, is saying that like they recognize in the moment where they are. They're like, how much, when I think about that, it's like a whole pizza or a whole cookie or a whole donut or a whole a whole sphere or something you can slice off, and it's like 70-30. and I'm like 70-30. So it's like I love myself 70, and I got 30 extra that I can freely use to like connect with other people and whatever. I'm really in this solid place. It's not that I don't want to connect with people. When I'm in this self-sufficient place. It's just when I'm at 100%, I don't really need anybody else. I'm like la la la. But out of that place of a lovely 100% comes this, if I don't know if you're like me, but comes this beautiful urge to do something for somebody else, to be in somebody else's life, and just somehow like just show up with flowers or a plant, or just like bless somebody or whatever. Just so that 70-30 can change, right? It feels like it's basically my awareness, my tune to myself, to how much I'm loving and accepting myself, that perfection at that moment. It sounds like she's saying in the grocery store, it's like when they cut me off, and we're talking about like our daily stuff. This is a grocery store trip is like regular for people. It's like, part almost habitual. It's like a necessity for something we got to do. And so like when we bump into those other energies, if we're at 70-30, potentially when we bump into some other energy, we could potentially, take on 30% or whatever. We're onboarding somebody else's, if they bumped us with their cart or whatever, we could potentially take on that snarky attitude or whatever, maybe judge it wrong or whatever. Is that making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the grocery store is one of the hardest places for me to go. But that's because I pull on energies so harshly. Yeah, but it makes sense. I don't know, 70-30 for her, what it is. I don't know. There's a lot of healing that still has to go on with people. I mean, like I said, I try to keep mine as balanced as possible because I still look into what I'm still healing from. So, I keep an eye on that. I still go through that. Whenever I'm in those moods or whenever I get into those bad places, I try to get through what that is. Like, why am I in this place? Why am I thinking this? But absolutely, grocery stores are like one of my I'm not gonna lie. That's like I just like, baby, go to the grocery store, please. I don't want to. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Type thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm with you. There's so many, when it changes, I find people, if you're like me, when something you're used to changes, and actually, if I read on now, I'm seeing that Caird was mentioning to Kat, talking about when you're in the aisles or you're looking for something and they've moved stuff, so they've changed the store. So when you're very used to accustomed things being a certain way and then it goes out of whack, that will
Yeah.
be that'll be a great indicator of like your tolerance window. How much are you dependent on your circumstance to be the same all the time in order for you to be in that happy place or whatever? Can determine whether you're conditionally accepting, conditionally loving of yourself, or depending on the external being a certain way. I know that, like, again, that 1% I was talking about, I love to talk about it that way. I'm going to keep talking about it. That 1% has that in it, like these little pieces. You can't control them. It's like, what can I control? I can control my attitude. That's about it in this situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about how you control yourself or how you react to a situation for sure. And my big thing is like I have that is if we're going to go back to it. We're talking about the grocery store. My problem is
Yeah.
I have a really big problem with other people's energies, like because I can feel and see them, and so I get like I will I start flipping out. Like, and that's a hard place for me to be. That's seriously like I'll be like, okay, this is too much for me. And that's just the truth,
Yeah.
because that's just where I'm at.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that I preach. It's emotional connection, it's emotional reaction, that how you react to an emotional thing. But that's my biggest thing is definitely like other people's energies.
What makes it makes a lot of sense when you talk about we talk about Walmart. I know we laugh about it or whatever, but we talk about Walmart and the grocery store. But if you think about it, your work, how many are there? There's your home, your work, maybe riding in the car with somebody, or if you're a commuter on the bus or taxi or something train. There's like the grocery store, a few different places that you go. Your hair salon, maybe get your teeth done. These different places, and you really don't. They're public places, right? And you really don't have a lot of control over,
Yeah.
right? You
I
have
mean, you
control
have
over
no
when you
control over
go
it.
sometimes and stuff. But then I think we talked in one of the other episodes about that energy body, and I'm zeroing in on this for you and for those like you and myself as well, because what we don't, I think one of the things we forget about is how much of a, like, lots of times I think my body ends here on the skin. I think I'm 5'6", so I think at the top of my head, that's it. I can walk under that, and that's it. But the truth is, we have a big star fruit. Like, we're walking in a big avatar star fruit in the energy body. And you walking by somebody on the sidewalk or standing beside, I think of right now, they're showing me a time where I was in the lineup and I just felt, for whatever reason, with the people I'm in the line, to pay for the groceries or whatever. Where do I get that feeling from? Where does it come from? Why did that drop in all the time? How do you, I don't know, but I'm really close to these people, and for whatever reason, I feel like I'm resonating with something, and all of a sudden there's this, like, just do this for these people, whatever. And it's like, it does something for me, it does something for them. Something happened in that moment in our starfruit little bodies, because we were mashed together in that little cattle cattle rail, whatever, to get through a grocer's line or whatever, that we became family. We became, like, connected. We became an energetic, rather than disconnected and not knowing each other on the far side of the world or whatever. Source put us there in that moment for that particular whatever it is, and that whole dynamic, and your energies mixed together, and out of that thing comes some kind of a beautiful interaction. I think what people forget how much of is how sticky we are, or how, like, we're like Velcro, or we're like, in a lot of it. And so, like, going to these places, we are picking up, whether, even if you don't touch them, even if you just see them across the room and a given kind of a gaze hits you, or whatever the thought form comes with that, that's your, that's your opportunity to decide what's happening now. What thought am I going to have? Am I going to choose a connection thought? Am I going to choose a icky thought? Am I going to choose a panic thought? you know what is happening right now? It's just awareness, I guess, mindfulness in the moment. So hopefully
Yeah,
that.
that goes with me with the intuition thing that we're talking about. It's that feeling. It's an emotional feeling. That's to me. Um, and you have to trust it sometimes. Like I said, you're not always right. But if I'm standing in a place and I start feeling in a negative, I don't want to be there,
Yeah, you trust that.
because I can feel that connection, and I'm like, nope, this is not good. I don't want to be here. My issue is sometimes I will panic. You know what I mean? I will be like, okay, nope, 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 I'm out. So that's a big deal. So sometimes it's that emotional reaction that can really create a problem, instead of you understanding what you're feeling. So that's very important as well. So
So
yeah,
I feel to ask this question, and I'll make it the last one because I think we're wrapping up here, and
yeah.
then we'll say goodbye to everybody. And thank everybody for coming. Before I do that, I want to touch on this, what Carrot had said. One more comment here. I think the message is about what you can look at if you choose, or it can confirm what you already feel, like a challenge to your mindset, which you can change or reinforce. So it sounds like they're talking about, sort of the mini process, or the continual mini processes of connecting to the self and empowering the self, versus, like, reading an energy and, like, being disconnected or being put off by it or whatever.
Absolutely. Sounds like just, yeah, what I was just saying. I agree with that 100%. It comes down to, how you were connecting with the energy, and then, or how you were connected with self. I agree 100%. I think that was a very well said. I think that was very well said.
I did have one other question I did say I had, but I'm going to let it go because we're right at the end of the time or whatever today. Today it would be awesome, Timothy, Ty, why don't you try wrapping up for us? Take the floor and thanking the guests and stuff like that. Maybe you could talk about a little bit about who you are, what you do, why you do it, where to find you, who we are, what the podcast is about and stuff. And then I'll wrap it up at the end, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I am Timothy Bergquist, guys, and I'm sure most of you know me. If you guys want to follow me on TikTok, it's Work Bergquist. I do artwork, I do tarot readings. The main thing here that we're trying to do is create a better place and a better stage for people to understand why they are going through what you were trying to do in your awakening, is what I'm going to say. The tarots are there. I also do other things. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, it's awoke Berkwish 22. But what I love is the fact that what we're trying to do here is allow you to have a space to come in and speak and talk and allow yourself to go through your own awakening, if you will, how you're going through it, and put out your messages as well. We want you to be confident and have a safe space, and I really want you guys to step into that and really come in and show some love and go through what the changes are that you were trying to get through to continuously grow, and it's going to be a beautiful thing for you. And you guys can check me out anywhere you want, and I appreciate all of you and you guys. I am grateful for everyone.
Me too. Thank you so much, Timothy, for Ty, for coming. I'm going to get this right. You can hear I'm making this switch. I say the one and then the other after every time. I'm attempting to call Ty because I programmed myself to call him Timothy. Thank you all for coming. Kat, Bruce, Carrot, Kathleen, who else is here? If there's anybody we missed or we didn't catch you in the comments, thank you for your comments. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for the staff that helped to put the podcast together and put the word out. Special thanks to Kathleen, who does a lot of our social media stuff and really did a stellar job this week getting the videos in front of a lot of people. All of y'all are why we do this. Just to recap, dynamic change management is just basically, the only constant in life is change. And so becoming good at change, is like a must-have tool, a must-have skill in this life. And so we're here to provide you with a number of different, we choose kind of metaphysical. I tend to dip in a little bit to psychology and practical stuff as well. Not that tarot is not super practical. The point is to facilitate y'all wherever you are. If you have a desire to get from point A to point B, or you're stuck, you feel stuck, or it's a difficulty for you to assimilate transition, new things happening, or we also, both of us are healers here, so part of the idea here is to hold space in such a way that you, like Timothy said, it's safe for you. I know myself, I'm a big personality and take up an amount of space when I speak and all that, but it's more important that your guys' voices are heard. These comments are what this is about. And the questions, any of the questions that you guys have, I do up, just so you know, I do up every week now. I do up a bunch of questions on a given topic. We're open to the topics you guys want to discuss. We have a bunch that we're going to cover or whatever anyway, but how do I say, we want to make sure that you're getting your questions answered, and this is about y'all. So we're growing in our gifts and stepping out doing this stuff, but the space that we're holding is as much for you as it is for us. So thank you so much for joining us tonight at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, April 30th. You'll be able to find a copy of this on YouTube. It was streamed to YouTube, just the one platform tonight. We'll be chopping up the little bits and you'll see it dispersed on social media, LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff. I am Dylan Matt of InsiderOutside.com, Metaphysical magazine, of Lightworker.InsiderOutside.com, the practitioner hub, where you can find my profile as an intuitive coach. I offer 6 weeks of empowerment results coaching. I have a new program that I'm developing called the Dylan Chance Map Protocols. We're putting it together. We're building also a 365-day journal and a few different things, like Timothy's got some offerings. I have some as well. They're all designed to get you, like I said, to empower you and to get you through stuff. So that being said, that's the end of our plug for this. We super appreciate you guys and invite you to tune in the next time. We're doing this every 2 weeks now. So Timothy, just so you know, I haven't really told you yet, but it's going to be the 1st and the 15th, or the 1st and the 16th, something like that. Instead of the last day of the month and the middle of the month, we're going to go to the 1st. So whereas today would be the 30th, it would just be the beginning of the month or whatever. So
sounds good, brother. Absolutely.
We're going to try and get to, so all of y'all, if you're interested in helping us, we could use your assistance. Support us how you want, follow us, like, subscribe, all of our content, sharing our stuff on social media and all that jazz helps a lot. Get the word out. Supporting us will help to make sure that we can improve the quality of what we can produce for you guys as well. But if you're interested in helping in other ways, shoot a message to myself. You can find me on LinkedIn, Inside or Outside, or Dylan, Facebook, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm everywhere. or theinsideroutside.com, and let us know what your gifts are, what your skills are. We could probably put you to work, whatever, in the background. So thank you so much, everybody. Thanks for listening to the extra stuff tonight. Thanks for joining us, and have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful time. Cheers.
Mass love, guys.
Mass love. Yes.